All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection live stream. We've got Rob Mooser with us. We got Wade Signal Soldiers at 31, I think.
Yeah.
31, and Kyle should be joining us here soon. So thanks for coming out. Unfortunately, Jamie wasn't able to make it today, or Georgia Boy wasn't able to make it either. So we're gonna have to live without him for now. Say hey to people in chat. Wasn't able to make it today. We've got JCM45 in chat, and Mike Treen and Josh Benwar. Thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate it. Sorry we're about a couple minutes late, but we had a little bit of technical difficulties for a second there. So
don't lie, Nathan. You upset our Google overlords. You know it.
I did. I was poking fun at Google earlier and talking about how they're trying to take over the world. And next thing you know, things didn't work because they are listening, folks. They are listening. But so what's everybody up to today? What have you been doing today, Drum?
I actually I knocked out my my TRN can challenge, 225 yards with a Ruger 1022 takedown, iron sights. So I think that video should be coming out. I want to say Sunday. I'm in the middle of uploading it right now, but yeah, that should be coming out Sunday. I'm gonna put that one out Sunday. So that ought to be fun. It's a fun video.
That does sound pretty fun because I was gonna go shooting today. That was my plan, and I told Kyle this. I earlier this week I had Cool Pack go out in the car, and the last time I had one, I decided to have them change it here. It was like $280 for a $30 Cool Pack. I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm waiting for the part to come in. So I wasn't able to get to the range, but we're planning on going tomorrow. So
yeah, I was talking to you about this a little bit earlier this week, and basically like the hardest videos for me to shoot and edit are the Satterley load development ones, simply because you shoot, then you've got to get up and find the brass, which means you've got to stop the video. You got to cut the video from one shot to the next, which means you've got to cut the target camera from one shot to the next. Plus you're adding velocities on the screen and stuff like that. Like I must have spent 5 hours this week editing that video, which will be coming out next week. And today I was like, you know what? I just feel like doing something stupid and fun. So yeah, I did my can video today. So that'll be coming out. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass. There's a lot of work that goes into editing videos sometimes. Sometimes it's not so bad. Other times it is a massive pain in the ass.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Editing can get a little long, especially when you're trying to do multiple step process and you're trying to shoot and it gets all confusing. Uncle Jim, thanks for coming out. Sorry to hear about that hacks, man. I'm telling you, I'm still cringing over that. If you guys didn't hear or see Uncle Jim's video, his son stubbed his toe on an axe blade.
Oh, is that today's video? I don't think I've seen Jim's video today. No, I saw the one from yesterday. I didn't see the one for today.
Yeah, it's oh man, it is cringeworthy. I just cannot imagine. Yikes. So yeah, I'm not able to get to go down now. Tomorrow, unfortunately, Saturday gets so busy out at the range that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to film. I'm hoping to change ranges coming up soon. My membership, I think it lapses in September at the range that I'm currently a member of. And I'm thinking about getting a membership at another club, and they just opened up a 600-yard range, amongst other things. And they've been building all kinds of stuff and putting in a lot of infrastructure stuff. So thinking about changing that. And I think
isn't there one that's like halfway between me and you, or like it's closer to you, but it's like kind of like on that road that would lead up into like if you were going to come to Nashville or something like that?
I don't know. I'm sure there is.
Past Air Force Base.
Yeah, I know kind of where you're at, but I can't think of one. But the one I'm thinking of is Little River Gun Club here in Valdosta. And in the past, I didn't want to become a member there because the place flooded all the time, and the mosquitoes were just horrible because it's right on the river. It's built in a river slough, but they've done a lot of infrastructure changes, so the drainage is a lot better, and they have all kinds of matches and stuff, and I want to get involved in that. So that's what I think I'm going to end up doing. And I'll be able to film then because I'll be able to. Yep, it's possible. She's saying Possum Creek has a gun club, or shooting range. I don't know if they do, but
I don't know where that is.
it's kind of over in that direction. But I sent Kyle a text. I don't know what the deal is. I talked to him earlier, and he said he was looking forward to it, but who knows? He just got back, so he may be busy taking care of something. So, Wade, introduce yourself. Let's see what you've been up to.
All right. Well, I'm Wade, also known as Signal Soldier on here. Like I was telling him, the reason I call myself Signal Soldier is I'm actually in the Army, and I work in Signal. So, and been in it for 18 years. And today I just went out, bought a little bit more supplies, some more bullets, and some more gunpowder, and just been working on some more cases here. I'm trying to get up to my magic number of cases I want. So,
What part of the country are you in, Wade?
I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Greenville, North Carolina, if anyone's familiar. ECU.
Gotcha.
I was stationed there at Pope for several years, and the Fort Bragg Army, that is giant. Sorry about that.
Second biggest. So do we want to? So let me ask you: do you want to go into this, the All-Star that everyone wants, All-American, excuse me, that everyone's been asking to see and get the reviews about?
Well, we definitely want to go into that. That's up to you when you want to kind of.
I can hit it now if you'd like. We can go on and do it.
We can do that. We can. We've got 12 people on right now. Kyle's kind of coming on here in a second. We can just kind of hold up just a second until we get maybe the full house going. Kyle said he's there. He's just having a hard time getting to the link, or getting the link to work. So,
yeah, I'm surprised Kyle knows how to actually answer his phone, let alone get on a live chat. So,
no, he does all right. It's just I think he has issues with trying to access from different sides. Hey, brother.
Hey, we're here.
You know what? That may have been my fault because he may have had the old link. I bet that's exactly what it was.
He's on Apple. I mean, let's just blame it on Apple and be done with it.
Hell
Fair
yeah,
enough.
blame it on Apple. Be done with it.
How you doing, Kyle?
Yeah, Curtis says to maybe hold out until we get a couple more people on before we talk about the that awesome press. So I kind of why not? We can hold up for a little while. MCK, thanks for coming in, guy. I appreciate it.
Hey, Uncle Jim, you've got a really interesting package waiting on you, sir.
Whose camera are you talking about, Jim? He said camera higher. Whose camera? No, we're not doing this. We're not doing the bash. Put the Glock. I'm gonna put it right here. We're not doing the bash Glock. It's not happening. We're not doing it. Not happening.
Oh boy.
Uncle Jim, I'm sorry that your son's upset about you having that on the video, but I tell you, a little bit of prayer and a little bit of empathy go a long way sometimes. So tell him, he's in our thoughts because that's some gruesome.
Man, I was really sad to hear about that. I mean, I can imagine stumbling around in the bedroom and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit your head on the corner of your bed or some shit like that. But a razor sharp axe, Jesus.
No. In response to William C. Chapman, I'm not gonna bash Glock. I'm not gonna bash Lee. Like I said, I buy a lot of Lee stuff just because it's cheap and it's good. But Apple can pound sand. How about that?
Okay, whatever.
They can pound sand.
You bow down to my phone and pound sand then at every orifice that it has. We got it. Now what are we doing?
Like Apple, all right. They make good products.
I admit that I'm not a fan of my phone. I'm just having to deal with it.
So I got
$1,000 to replace it.
I got I guess I'll cover up my updated USCCA member card today. It's that time of year where mine renews, so
woohoo!
Got that in.
Oh, hey, have you guys if you've ordered, and I know, Robbie, you haven't because you don't do this, but if you've ever ordered an NOE mold, you get this Cast Bullet Association card.
Yeah, I got one right.
Has anybody ever looked into that to find out what it is and how? I haven't, even though I keep, every time I get one, I swear I'm going to, hey, I need to look into this and find out what's going on, and then I just end up not doing it.
Cast Bullet Association sounds like some,
I don't know.
That sounds like some kind of Uncle Jim scam. Cast Bullet Association. He's got to be behind that.
Hey, they're in Texas. I don't know if that means that it's more or less possible to be a scam, but.
Hell, I'm trying to find it. I know it's around here somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't into them either.
How'd your shooting go, Kyle?
Oh, man, we had a ball. I came down with a case of food poisoning on Tuesday. Happy birthday to me. Ended up making it down there. The whole day Wednesday, yeah, didn't feel so good. Thursday, we had a ball. I've been posting some YouTube videos as quick as I could get them edited. Got a couple of more to do. We had a ball. We caught a bunch of fish. Did a bunch of good shooting. Completed a bunch of challenges. Had some challenges that just said, you know what, we're not happening this weekend. So, and I was the first one to admit that shit on film. So I'll post those videos too.
William, which Glock did you get? And Scotsman, check your Slack. I sent you a message. I think you wanted my email address last week, or my address or some crap like that. I think it was you. But check your Slack.
Yeah, I sent out requests for address, and I got them back from OP and Scotsman, but the other people I haven't got anything back on. I'm just going to end up mailing out their stuff from last week. I was trying to do it all at one time, but if I'm not going to get anything from them, you know. Oh, man. But yeah, I'm planning on going shooting tomorrow with a loaded cap gun, and I'm going to unload all my 32s that I have that are sitting around the house wayward. I'm looking forward to doing that. That's going to be kind of a fun time. And depending on the circumstances, I may try to pull out a can challenge. I don't know. It's something I want to get done because I'm tired of being one of the only people that hasn't done it. But got a fun time.
I got mine knocked out today, so it'll be an interesting video. That's for sure. Interesting video.
Speaking of Scotsman showing up on the in the side chat and everything, I get home from being away for what, 3-4 days, and I've got a mail call.
Warning.
I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm gonna wait, but damn, I have no clue what all's in it. But Crazy Scotsman sent me a package. Was not even expecting it. It just showed up. So that's awesome. Thank you, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm giving Scotsman my address now, and I'm kind of scared.
Well, you should be.
I don't really.
Should be.
I don't even know. Like he poked us last week during chat and says, "I want your address," and so I just sent it to him. And like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna need bomb sniffing dogs to open the package or what. But hopefully it comes USPS, because I know they at least scan some of their stuff. So
I'm telling you, I was totally taken aback when I was just actually walking through the house after taking a shower and getting a load of clothes going, and I was like, "What the hell's that?"
Well, I've not had anybody actually send me anything yet, so it's kind of weird for somebody like, "Hey, let me have your address. I want to send you something." It's still weird to me.
Well, I got no 6'5" shit. Tell me what else you need, and I can hook you up, brother.
I know. Well, I think we talked last week about some 32 stuff once I get dealing with this stupid little revolver that I got, this old British Bulldog, but I've got to get to it. I'm not there yet.
Like I said, just send me your address and I'll make it happen. You haven't done it yet, so therefore you don't have it.
Yeah, I'm slow. I
can't
had a
wait for Uncle Jim to open that box. That's going to be great. What do you got there? Oh, you found my card. Oh, shit. Excuse me. 1 second.
Well, congrats to I want to say congrats to JCM 45 for shooting his first cast bullets. So that's the first time you've really rolled your own. Up until then, you just kind of put stuff together. There was other people's stuff.
hey.
Hey, it's just true. You're assembling components, so you're casting your own.
Just because you're taking somebody's leftover wheel weights off of their freaking swamp buggy and throw them in a pan doesn't mean you're making your own any more than anybody else is.
Yes, it does actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe it does.
But yeah, I know that is a cool feeling, man. I remember the first time that I casted my own and shot him. That was a really cool deal. It really got me. I think it kind of fired me up more because I always reloaded in the past, but it was always kind of grudgingly. I'd load up, I'd sit doing a single stage press, and I'd sit there and just pound out 345 ACPs or something. But when I started casting, it became, the whole process became more fun for me.
I think for me, my favorite part about reloading is the process of working up a load. So not really, any of the reloading, pulling the handle type stuff, but more of the, figuring out the problem, solving the problem, if you will, the accuracy problem. You want to say that's the problem? I think that for me is probably the my favorite part of the whole reloading process.
I'm telling you, I agree with you, Rob. I've got 3 notebooks. I mean, big notebooks that are full of data. I actually took 2 of them with me this past week, and I was sitting there, and I'm all ready. Here we go, cold bore shot. Here's the bacon challenge, 1/4-inch steel plate at 250 meters. I pulled the trigger. I hit the target, but I can't tell you where I hit it because I didn't hit it on the edge.
Well, that's the amazing thing. Like I've got, like I'm a gamer. I've got a gaming computer. I do all these fancy charts and all that bullshit. This is my 6.5 Creedmoor notebook. Like, how can you reload and not have a notebook? It's just full of shit.
It's empty.
No, it ain't empty. Look, it ain't empty. Hold on. There's shit on that page. See it? It ain't empty.
Oh, the one page.
I just started reloading 6.5 Creedmoor. What do you want from me?
No. It's just everybody was giving me shit because I had so much data logged for my 30-06 rounds. I'm shooting 175 grain Sierra Tip Match King over 48.95. I can give you the exact specs. I can't tell you because I haven't loaded any of them in over a year. I've been focusing on 308. But I can drive the 30-06 rounds wherever the hell I want to. And this weekend, Angel sitting right here, cold bore, just had to actually let the gun heat up because we took it outside from the house or the cabin into the sun. Everything fogged up because it was god dang hot and humid. Cleaned everything up, fired 1 shot, boom, ding. Like, I love this rifle, but I got to the damn plate. I couldn't tell where I hit. I knew I wasn't on the edge, but I couldn't tell on this side or this side where I hit. That the plate's been so skewed. It's more like an S shape now, but I couldn't tell where I hit. So
well, I tell you what, it was so hot today. I started making my can challenge video at about 2:00, and by the time I finished, it was about 4. And when I started, it was 92. And when I finished, it was 94. And I sat down. I turned some sprinklers on because my trees are looking just sad because we ain't had any rain.
Did you lay down next to the trees?
I tell you what, I sat on the porch. My neighbor come over, and we had a couple of big boy beverages. And I looked up at the thermometer that's sitting in the shade, and it was 100 degrees at like 4:00 in the afternoon. It was flat out 100 degrees.
It was hot as hell when we left down there. God Almighty, it was hot. I mean, just brutally nasty hot. You get out, the plumbing that goes to the showers run off well water, so it's like 40 to 60 degree water, and it feels good while you're in the shower. You dry off before you can get your clothes on. You're soaking wet again. It was just, God Almighty, it was hot.
So Wade, what kind of rounds do you reload for?
My main two, I really only carry a couple rounds because I cannot afford multiple calibers. So I load 308 and 45 ACP. I'm kind of a traditionalist. I like them 2 rounds.
Yeah, I'm with you. 45 ACP is a good one, and I'm actually just getting into reloading 308 for.
308, I love 308. That's my favorite round. I wish the Army would go back to it. I wish the military would go back to it. I don't have the philosophy of hurt somebody does not go to good in war.
The yeah, that would be a weird day. I mean, I think there are still some units that are carrying 14s, but I think it's very specific. And I think aren't they? No, they're just shooting. They were doing 338 lapels for some.
Well,
of the,
they're still using them.
They still got sniper rifles. They still got some sniper rifles, 240 Bravos.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in a much limited capacity. I mean, but I'd like it better. I've never been a 5.56 guy. I mean, it's great. AR-15's awesome gun rifle, but I've never been a 5.56. I just don't like taking a 22 caliber round in battle.
Then again, the 5.56, they made you qualify up to 300, 500, 700 yards with it, but it's never been designated a sniper caliber round because it's not. No.
Well, I mean, that's why they're using it right now in the Middle East is because, they're doing all kinds of, city, quote unquote, urban area clearing and whatnot. And I think that's why a lot of it's gone to the 5.56 right now. It's just the environment we're in.
Well, we've been 5.56 since Vietnam era, but we are kind of, I won't say running into problems. I mean, we are kind of being outranged sometimes because everyone we fight against is AK-47. It's not much difference in range, but they can still shoot a little farther.
Well, the thing about it is it packs a little bit more punch once it gets there finally.
And now they're bringing 7.62 back a little bit, but they're looking at changing caliber. Right now, no one knows what it is. It's talking about I seen just here as lately a 6.8 millimeter. So that will be interesting.
I saw that. I don't think it'll be 6.8. The only what is it? The UAE military ordered some 6.8. I think they're the only ones. Yeah, it's the UAE. They're the only ones that have ordered 6.8. I don't see us going to 6.8. I just don't see it.
I saw something about that, but the ballistics they're just not there. They've got better ballistics with way older calibers that they already have bulk of ammunition and stockpiles. So,
well, I think my 6.5 Grendel series that I've already done is extremely similar to 6.8 to begin with, and I think it really shows that we would end up being in the same limitations with that as we are currently with the 223. I don't think we're going to gain much going to a 6.8, even in the AR-15 platform. You're still not getting out past 300 yards.
They're going to change the whole platform. It may not be. It still may be an AR type, but the platform itself, they're talking about, and you can go online and just read this caseless ammunition and all this good stuff. It's crazy with some of the stuff they're talking about doing and some of the rifles. This is like 10, and my news sources are no more different. It's not like I get intel from anybody else, to make that clear here now. So,
as far as I know, the only company that is actually producing a dedicated 6.8 rifle is LWRCI, with their LWRCI 6.8 is what they call it. It's the SIX8, and that's the only company that's producing an actual, built from the ground up. We took the magazine and the cartridge and we built the rifle 6.8. So I mean, there's not even enough companies out there making it for them to put out what the hell do they call it? An acquisition notice, and for companies to submit guns. It's just not out there.
Well, they already got there's 10 companies out there submitting new rifles.
In 6.8?
Not necessarily new rifles. I just said new rifles. Right. New rifles. But 6.8 was the caliber. At first, it started off, everyone was guessing it's probably going to be the 6.5 Creed. But here as of just today, it was some of the rounds was a 6.8, which
Yeah, I'd be really surprised personally if we went with anything other than 6.5 Creedmoor, to be honest with you.
Well, Tunis brings up a point, and I think this is something that we're going to have to, the military is really going to have to pay attention to, is that whatever they decide to do, the idea of having one service rifle to cover all branches and to be utilized by almost all forces is borderline ridiculous now, because we don't know what kind of combat we're going to do from one year to the next.
Well, and that's why,
or you're out trying to shoot, across a desert, or you're in a jungle. They require different guns and different, calibers, and I think that's one of the problems that we're running into, is because we were so locked into a certain platform and a certain contract for money purposes. I don't see that being the way we go. I see them opening up certain platforms for certain areas to do certain things and still keeping others. So we may still have an entire armory full, of 223, 5.56, but we bring in some 6.8s, or we bring in some 6.5 Creedmoors or 338.
I can kind of see or going to where taking it down to the squads or platoon level, where certain people in squads are going to be carrying certain things as DMR is going to be designated marksman. So they may have a rifle that can range a little bit farther. And then 85% of the other guys in the squad are going to be carrying traditional. Because they're not going to change it too much, because that was part of World War II, World War I, was everyone had a different freaking gun in the freaking squad and they couldn't get ammunition. Where the 5.56 round brought it, ammo, this is what you use, this is what you're getting, that's what you got.
Well, like that, what you just said is the exact reason why I own one AK. I'm not an AK guy, but I own one Kalashnikov AK because, shit hits the fan one day and I'm scrounging for ammo. Well, I have one AK. If the need arises, I own one of those rifles. That's a common cartridge that I might be likely to find if I need it. And Toolness in chat said, the bean counters just aren't going to pay for, to retool the entire military. They're just not going to do it.
I don't know. They just
retooled 2 SKSs.
They just retooled the whole. They just retooled the whole military with new pistols.
Yeah, about that.
So I mean, they're looking at making some changes. What we know is very limited. Like I said, I'm just on Google reading, trying to get as much information as anyone else. It will probably be after I retire before I see anything. It will be interesting.
That whole pistol thing's been going on for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why I said it will be after I retire before I see a platform as far as a rifle.
Changed so many times. Do we go with the 45 ACP? Do we go with the 9mm? Do we go with the 40? Do we go with the 40? Do we go with the 9mm? Do we go back to the 45? Who the hell knows? And hell, let's just bring in somebody else to fill in the gap, and nobody can fill the gap in.
10mm.
Right. It's what the hell do you want the cartridge to do?
Kill.
Yeah.
Okay. So a 45 is good, a 9mm is good, a 10mm is good, a 40 cal's good. I mean, what the hell do you want? It all comes down to personal preference. I was not ashamed at all to have a 45 on my hip during anything that I ever did. Yeah, that's an accurate cartridge. As long as you forget to aim it, you just point to some bitch and click it. It's like the duck hunt game.
Kyle, you need to move your camera about 3 inches to the left because we can't see your face. But that's the only common caliber I think that I don't have is 45. I've got so much.
You call yourself a goddamn American? You don't even have a fucking 45. Sorry.
No, I've got 37 9mm.
I'm sorry.
So I don't think a 45 is that bad. I mean, I don't like a compact in it. I carry around a 4.5-inch barrel, and that's what I'm going to carry because I know muzzle brake, everything like that. I can still keep it on pretty good.
I can tell you this:
anything larger than a subcompact.
If you hit somebody, if you're in an altercation and you hit somebody in the pinky, it'll shatter every bone until their shoulder with a 45. That's the power that round possesses that nobody understands.
I've got the power.
It has that shock factor. It will shatter every bone and render that arm totally useless. And you shot him in the pinky.
Now, Mike, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you on that, buddy. Well, guys, we got about 17 people on, and everybody's up and running. Wade, you want to start in and talk to us a little bit about your press?
Sure. Well, can everyone see relatively well? I'm gonna get it more on the press than me. So, but as everyone sees, I got the Lyman new All-American 8 press, turret press, which is very comparable to the Redding T7. I've only touched this T7 a couple times and never really used it like I have with this now. I made about 1,000 rounds since I've had this turret press. But so far, I can honestly say it's a solid press. Out of the box, great thing about it, all that is, I had to put 3 screws in it, and it was ready to go, and then a primer, attached a primer. I've done my 3AO8 side. As everyone sees, I start off, I'll give you from the turret. I start off with the Mighty Armory decapping. The reason I do that, most of this brass I use is Lake City. So they got military crypts in them. I just find it a little easier to go through. Then I go to my resizing, and I always do 2 stations, because after I do these 2, they go to a cleaner. Then I go to my bullet seating, which I use the Forester for, and then I always crimp my bullets because I do shoot an AR. I use a relatively light crimp. And then on the other side, I got my 45 stuff. I got my resizing die, my bell where I put the bell in it, and then my bullet seater, and then my crimping for my 45. So that's how I run on my press. But as far as the press, it's solid. If anyone can hear it, the lockup on it, when you go between stations, it's a solid, positive lock. Only thing I could say is that I do like the T7 that I've had in my hands. I wish there was more. There's only 2 slots here. So sometimes you find yourself working behind it rather than being able to put this on the side and keep it nice and comfortable.
But you do
besides that's just a minor little issue.
Correct?
Say what?
You do have it set up for 2 calibers right now, correct?
I do have it set up for 2 calibers. 2 calibers. It's like I said, one's a 4-die set and one's kind of a 5-die set, because like I said, it's priming, resizing, bullet seating, crimping. And the other one's my traditional 3 dice. Well, both of them are kind of a 4-die because I crimp on both sides through the lead crimping die. So that's how I do business. I have crimped through the dies before, but I don't. This is about the press. But the press itself, I have 3 presses. I started off with the RCBS partner press. I have a Mex Marksman, which I would tell you, not trying to do, that's the smoothest press I've ever had. I mean, out of the box, this was kind of, you definitely had to lube it up a little bit. It was tight, but now that she's been used, it's nice and smooth. And the cool thing about, the one thing I do like about this compared to my mech is I can sit right here, and I'm kind of tight right now, but I can pull it all the way down and it don't come on my leg. So I can sit right up in front of here and it don't pull down on my leg. My mech, I have to sit to the side because I don't have that luxury here. So everyone was always so worried about the swing. This is full. I'm full right now on this swing, and it's not hitting my leg. And I don't know how tall my bench is, but it's probably about 36, 40 inches. So it's like your traditional RCBS, the rock chucker, how it kind of can't fill forward and then comes down. It's about the same as that.
That's cool. And you haven't noticed any problems between transitioning from die to die to die? Everything stays where it's supposed to be and just set it up and roll with it?
Now I won't say I just roll with it. Like, I'm very particular. I will measure and measure and measure. Like, I'll decap, no problem, but I'll resize. But before I go and start putting a bullet seating, I usually do 50 round load. I usually work on 50 at a time. So I'll take a case comparator, and for my gun, I load for 2 rifles. My son has a Savage Axis, and I have an AR-10. So I try to make a round that fits both of them rounds, but I don't want to move the brass any more than I have to. So the one lowest headspace mine's tighter than his. So anything that's above 1.623, I'll resize, but very rarely. And I'll take a case comparator every 50 cases.
Are you loading 308?
Yeah, I'm loading
For
308.
you and your son? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because mine headspace is at 624.
Yeah. So
just wondering.
yep. So if I go 1624, that round will not fit in my rifle. It will get jammed in a heartbeat.
Damn. Okay.
So if it's above one, it's my rounds. I usually get down to about. Actually, his is a little tighter. I usually get down to about 1620. That's where I usually try to go. 1620. Usually most of my cases are 1.618 to 1.620. That's where I usually try. I don't try to go any lower than that.
From factory, that's bumping the shoulder back a bit.
Yeah, that's bumping the shoulder back a bit, but I got to, because if I try to do it at my rifle or my cases will get stuck in, and I don't want to be able to.
I hear you. Every now and then I have to.
I don't want to pick from my brass. I just want to be able to go. And both guns are shooting. Right, I have no problem shooting. He's shooting 6-inch targets at 200 yards, 300 yards. That's what we practice on, 6-inch targets. So they're hitting the target time after time.
It's good enough for what you want to do. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, most definitely hunting, and that's what we're doing. We're getting into hunting. But okay, let's get back into the press. Now I will tell you, the press, I'm trying to demonstrate that even when you extend it, there is like no play. Like I could take this handle side to side, side to side. It's very, very, very minimal. I mean, it's not moving nothing. I mean, I can barely move that whatsoever. So the play in it is just as tight as my mech. That it's a solid. My handle, the play in the joints is solid. The primer feeding system. Now the primer feeding system works. I'm a bench primer. I use RCBS bench primer, or I use a hand primer. But I like bench primer. The primer system is sufficient. I'm slower at it. I don't like loading off a machine. But I have done a couple hundred cases just to see if I can feel confident and tell you that if either one of these two break, I can still prime off this press relatively easy. So the primer system does work on it. It's only difference is it's 50. You only get 50 primers in the tube compared to 100, I think, in the T7. So they did, it's a cheaper press. They had to save money somewhere. So that is one thing. So what I did is, if you could see in my press, I actually cover up where my primer thing goes in, because I don't prime off my press. That's not really important to me. So as well as any other press that, you had the occasional primers come out. Not much, less than one. I mean, it was very rarely I'd find a primer on the ground, but I don't like picking up things twice. So I had this thing for my partner press. It's a little black sleeve that fits right in there. So no primers slip out. And like I said, it was very minimally for it. It wasn't like I was always picking up a primer. It wasn't like that. But I will say it don't have the fancy thing like the T7. It has a little bucket. But I will tell you, this little bucket is plenty convenient. Yeah, you can't get as much in it. You can't load it to the floor. But the way they did it with the primer pocket coming right, the primers coming right in front of the press, you got eyes on, so you can always see this, and just to reach over and say, let me toss this. So it's small. It fits in there real conveniently. I will say, I wish the screw convention, because the way my table is, and I wish they would have had one more screw in the back. I wish they would have made it a 4, because for me, I got a steel beam that runs right here. I only got one screw going into that steel beam. I wish I could have 2 screws going in that steel beam just to make it much more solid. But it's the traditional 3-hole lineup on the press. But as far as
really interested in that press,
I took it was my Father's Day present to me. I kind of took a whim on it. Now I will say, I wish they would have finished it with the enamel paint job on the mech and the RCBSs and the Hornady. I do like a shiny paint job. They just used a flat orange, which they could have done a better job on, but it is what it is. It cleans up easy. I can get anything from my primers off. I mean, like I said, I made 1,000 rounds. You can look at this press, and there's very little mess on it.
I'm probably fixing to lose power here in just a little bit, guys.
Now, I will say the only thing that got me here is handle. The ball on the handle. they sucked. This ball sucked. I actually had to take some Gorilla Glue and glue it on there. That was the only thing I was like, are you kidding me? You couldn't get this right.
So
So
you're saying get like a 90-degree handle that you can do?
but you could do that. I just Gorilla Glued the ball on because Gorilla Glue expands. And since I did that, I haven't had a problem
Okay.
do anything whatsoever. So that was my solution to it. But the collet, the little thing, how they did it, like I said, I was pushing down and the ball came off. And I was like literally looking down like, are you kidding me? They couldn't do a better job on that. But the handle, solid as anything. Got plenty of leverage. I just had a case here to resize. I would resize one for you, but I've been doing my brass all day long. But it's as easy as any press. Like I said, I will say compared to my mech, it's not as smooth. But a cool thing about it is this does have a floating hit. For anyone who likes floating stuff, this does have this head does float on where you put the shell holder. It does move, so it can align with the shell with what you're putting it in. So, and I actually find, and I have some rounds I made over here. When I put it in my concentricity gauge, I very rarely do I have anything that's 2,000s out of alignment. I mean, it is as good as that. My mech as putting as far as a case once it's done, it's like solid right on.
And that's the weird thing about the mechs is they're made to be floating and everything's moving and all that, but you take a round off of it and you check it on a concentricity gauge and it's spot on.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
That's what I'm saying about this. This has a float. I'm trying to, I don't know, can you see the head float? It actually moves around a little bit.
Yeah, you can see it a little bit, yeah.
It's actually floating, and this actually does the same thing. And it is spot on. And I hate to say this, this is my go-to press now because I like the convenience of being able to do this. My boy loads off of the mech now. I load off of this.
That's
because
good.
I like being able to prime and go here and then do this and then do this. Where I don't like changing dies out.
So
now,
Wade, what would you say to kind of play devil's advocate here? What would you say, if any, are the negatives of that press? Like obviously it's great being a turret press, but what would you say are some of the negatives of that press? Just because I don't think there's been a lot of that information out there. I'm not saying badmouth your press or anything, but what are some of the negatives of it?
Well, there ain't many negatives because for the money you pay for it, I mean, it's not that expensive of a press comparing what kind of press. The primer system, now it takes time to get used to. When you'll first pull it back, you have to when you prime it, it's just not a touch. I don't know how the T7 is, but you kind of got to give it a good little pull, and you'll hear the primer drop and go in. I said the finish. It's not the prettiest finish. They could have done a much better job on like I got a seam right here. On my mech, you don't see no seam, no nothing. They ground everything down. It looks like it's nothing. I mean, like it's one complete solid piece, period. I wish there was more turret handle spots. I definitely would like to see 4. I mean, that's something.
I can see that as a big one because I use my spots a lot, so I can see that.
Especially when I get to 45. I start back here. I got to start back here at 45.
Yeah.
Because that slot will get in the way and I work my way forward. So I just kind of had to line it up. But I start with my 45 in the back because to me, I do more 308. 308 is what I like. That's my favorite. So I set it up to make my 308 loading easier. And if I had to work for anything, it's my 45. But as far as, I mean, it is
now
the handle sucks. The handle sucks.
When you pull on that handle a little bit, is there actually some play in there before the press starts moving, or does it start moving immediately?
Immediately. Look.
Okay. I saw you bouncing on it, and I just wasn't sure because I know like my T7, it's not that loose to where I can't like you were.
It's not loose. I mean,
gotcha.
As soon as I touch it, it's moving. It's like I said, I was surprised. I mean, I'm giving it a good little jerk. I mean, and there's very, 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 very little play. And even the flexion, there ain't no I know I've always heard turret presses, and it was actually one of the things I waited to get a turret press was everyone said when you size, they seen it go up. And I've sat here and been like resizing and looked. The flexion on it is, no worse than a T7, comparable to the T7.
So
Because the T7 was going to be my next press until this came out, to tell you the truth.
So essentially, other than some minor cosmetic things, for $100 less, you're paying for it not being as pretty.
Exactly. Like I said, I haven't loaded with your T7, but
Right.
I've got to play and feel it. It's smooth. I mean, I do like I do like the fact that the press up here where the nut is, to get that out, all you gotta do is put a ratchet with an extender, and it's like it's a nut that you can just turn your ratchet and get the nut off and rotate turret heads out with. So that is something, or which I know I don't want to do because that's not the why I want to change it, or you could take a bar through it, take the handle and change the nut. But I know I'm just sticking a ratchet on top and turning the head to get it off. But I haven't exchanged any heads, so that's one thing I can't tell you is how easy it is to change the head. But I can't imagine it being that hard if you know how to read the instructions.
So other than, the only thing that I can see that really is even a difference between it and my T7, other than not being as pretty, is just it's only got three mounting holes other than four, rather than four.
Like I said, I would do four.
And
Express-
one less handle hole. Other than that,
Yep.
yeah.
I wish they would do four. It's a big press. It should have four. It should have four holes without a doubt on it. I mean, because it's like 23 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, but then you look at the Hornady lock and load, and I think it has two.
Really?
Yeah, they don't have like Lyman's in my case, or when I've dealt with Lyman's have almost always had three mounting holes till you get into the older All-American and the True lines. But so that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, the Hornady big block and load ammo plant's got, I think, two holes.
Wow.
Yeah. I see the point. I see where that only having two handle holes would be a nerve-wracking, especially with the primer. When you have the primer tube in, because it looks like that would kind of be in the way. But I'm sure you'd get used to operating it like that. It would just come to you after a little while and wouldn't be a problem.
It's actually with the way I start. It's not, believe it or not, when I go to prime, because I'm not hitting anything else except tubing at that time, this handle will just come out and I'll just set it to the side. But I mean, like I said, when I prime, because if I prime, it's going to, after I prime, I'm putting gunpowder, then seat, and blah, blah, blah. So,
right.
I mean,
using it like the press is designed to be used, yeah.
So, but like I said, I don't like priming. I'm not a big prime off the press kind of guy. I tried it to see how it works. It's sufficient. I won't say I'll give it a 7 out of 10 if I had to rate it. It's better than my RCEBS partner press by far, but it's not perfect by any means either. But if my hand primer and my bench primer broke, could I come over to this press and do everything I needed to? Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. As far as the priming system.
Well, I'll tell you, if you don't have any, what was my worries were, one, turret deflection because it didn't have an adjustable adjustment on it. Two was primer, spent primer, because for whatever reason, Lyman has not got on board with having a drilled ram.
I don't know why they didn't. Well, I do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can, but I don't because it's just so much.
I can tell you though, Nathan, like even with my T7, once out of every 200 primers, maybe I end up with one on the ground. So even with the drilled ram, I still will once in a blue moon get one on the ground.
Yeah, it'll happen, but I mean,
yeah.
For instance, my T-Mag has the giant spent primer cup. However, it actually only has a very tiny spent primer cup. If you let that thing fill up to any kind of height, there's no backing in there, and they'll all fall out everywhere. It's a really goofy design, but all you got to do is drill it, and you can put a piece of tubing or something in there to take care of that. So that if you think that primer spent primer thing is sufficient and it's working for you, I think that's a pretty good thing. And then the turret deflection not being bad. it looks like it's a lot better than what I feared for the money. I was afraid that it was going to be pretty cheap.
Well, I was, like I said, I was planning on the T7. That was going to be, and I was actually going to get it for Father's Day. But then this thing came out, and I was like, I have a Lyman brass cleaner, the wet tumbler, and I like it. And I have a couple Lyman tools, and they've all been good. I was like, let me try this. I took a gamble because me, it was like, that's $100 cheaper. I was like, let's give this thing a try. Yeah, it don't have the drilled ram. I mean, like I said, they did what they did to save some money. If they drilled the ram, that was going to be, because that's not an easy process to machine that ram out like that. That can't be that fun of a job. So they did what they did to save some money, but what they did works great. Like I said, it don't hold the most, but where it's located, you can visibly see it, get to it easy. It pops off in a second. I mean, and you just have a trash can, boop, done. Primer's in the garbage can. So I mean, you see me take it off and put it on. It's literally 5 seconds to take it off, dump it, put it back on. But as far as the press, it functions great. It's become, like I said, I love my mech. If you take just based on smoothness, there's nothing like that mech mark. And I played around with a lot of them. That mech is the smoothest. You feel that thing's like butter. This thing's smooth, but it's not butter. I will put it to you that way. But it's smooth. I mean, it's not like, oh, you don't feel no grind, and there's nothing like that. And its sizes, my 308, man, I don't sit here and go, ugh. It's just a nice, firm, smooth.
I mean,
feel a little distance, go, done.
At the end of the day, I mean, realistically, the only thing we have to compare it to in comparable turret presses is the Redding, the T7. But at the end of the day, MSRP, it's still a $200 press.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, it looks like obviously it's a lot cheaper almost everywhere, but it looks like it's $200 well spent, and it's not, a $60, $70 press, and it's not a $200 press that is, trying to pose as a $200 press, that even though it's made out of a bunch of cheap crap, it looks like a quality press, and it almost kind of makes the T7 look overpriced, to be honest with you.
Now, I don't know about yours, but let's see. I'm going to do this. I got my calibers here. My turret head distance, that's 0.880.
Well, there's actually one measurement I want you to take, and hold on a second. Let me get my turret head is 1.04. The measurement I want you to take is in the back, the width of that stabilizer. What is the width on that press?
Long or deep? Okay, I'm going to take the deep measurements, 1.5 inches. That's wide. Now I'm going to take it the other one is 0.540.
All right, I'm at 1.3 wide and 0.65 deep. So
I'm at 1.53 wide, and like I said, deep wise 1.557.
What's your other measurement? 1.5, and what's your other one?
Let me get right here. Pretty much 0.550.
Okay, so it's a little thinner, but not. It's wider, but just yeah. I mean, I'm not seeing enough in the measurements, because that was the one concern that I had looking at it. It looked like it wasn't as thick per se as the Redding. So, I was worried that it may not be as stout, but if it's 1/2 inch of freaking solid steel, I'm pretty sure it's going to be solid enough that it's going to limit any freaking deflection that we're going to have out of, we're not reloading 50 BMG here.
I could almost pick up, with the way this is mounted, I could, and I don't want to do it, but I feel like I could get underneath this and almost lift up the front of my table if I wanted to, lifting on the turret.
Yeah.
It's a solid, it's solid. It was much more, I was kind of went into it half-heartedly. I was like, man, I don't know. But
I mean, unabashedly, I kind of wanted to be able to kill it and have this to bitch about and that to bitch about, and I be honest with you, I don't see anything to bitch about with it. I mean, okay, so it's got a seam and it's that orange color, which a scan of a $5 can of freaking panel fix if you really care that much, and the one handle thing is an inconvenience, but it's $100 inconvenience that I could certainly freaking live with.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not trying to be a killjoy or anything, but let me get off this thing because it's starting to storm really bad outside.
Take it easy, brother.
Let me go make sure that everything's shored up where it needs to be because I've been out of town for a couple of days.
All right,
y'all
stay dry.
Y'all will see it in a minute, or y'all saw an hour ago. I don't know. Okay, just want to say good night. Thank you for everybody. Thanks for everybody in the comments, and see you. Bye, guys.
See. Yeah.
I mean, Chap's got a point. There's. I tell you what, Chap, I can't even agree with that comment. And his comment is, my only complaint is hype and no product. And I can't even agree with that. I don't see hype. I don't see hype. I see a quality looking $200 press. I really do.
I see what.
I mean, I understand what you're saying about there not being enough product available, but
exactly.
I think it's a quality press.
Well, it pisses me off, man, because this is the kind of crap that the companies sometimes do. Is they do a rollout and they're not prepared. And it's, how can you not be prepared for your own product rollout?
How can you? But I mean, how can you know? And I mean, that's the thing in today's day and age. I mean, first of all, reloading is not that massive of a freaking thing, I mean, how can you really know that the demand for that press is going to be what it is?
Well, from what I've heard, it's available in a couple different places. In most of the places it's available, they're price gouging. And
right.
Lyman should, if I had the ability to be able to control that and I was working for Lyman, I would stop that immediately.
Well,
if it's one of your distributors anyway, because that's nonsense. That'll ruin a name for you.
Other than Father's Day or your random middle of the year birthday, though, the time they're looking to sell them is, have the correct production quota is, Black Friday, Christmas time. So, I mean, as long as they've got their production caught up by the end of the year, I can understand a slow rollout considering they released them early in the spring, late spring, early summer. I can understand a slow rollout, but yeah.
Uncle Jim's saying that everybody does it, and that's just kind of like anything new. And I see your point, man, but I still don't think it's right. I still think that if you're going to do a product rollout, you make sure they're available or that they're going to be available.
I did get mine from Midway, but I got mine early, and then early, and then it was on back order after that.
Yeah, immediately. You got the one that they had, and then everybody else was doomed.
So. But I will say this, if you ain't a Lyman fan, if you do use the press, I think you'll actually like Lyman after that. I mean, you'll be like, dang, it's actually solid because I never used a Lyman press. I was going towards this T7, and I have no regrets about getting this. I mean, I could show you on my concentricity gauge right here. I could take out these, and I'll sit every one on of them and show you. None of them are outside of 3,000 is usually a good round. None of them will be outside 3,000s.
Yeah, I've always been kind of a Lyman fanboy, so I'm glad to see that they're making a solid press. I wish that their single stage offerings were a little bit more traditional, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being picky. I like the old Orange Crusher or Crusher, whatever they were calling it. I like that press. I thought it was a very quality item. I don't really know about their new one, their new O press, and that's C press. I really don't understand a C press that looks like it's about 2 inches thick. I just don't get it. It looks like it's way overbuilt for a C press, unless I don't know. Maybe it'll have a use. I haven't figured it out, but I love that press. It looks very well made. It's funny because I'm actually more partial to a dull. If it's going to be orange, I'd rather it be a flat orange than a glossy.
Yeah.
I don't. I like the shiny enamel stuff because to me that just like cleaning the mech up. This ain't hard, but nothing sticks to that press. It's just like you just take a little rag. Here I got to take a little bit and just say, go to. It comes down to cleanup for me. Which one's easier to? The mech is, and I'm not trying to just go on the mech because I know mech's probably used by very little people, but I got that on whim. I was gonna go with a rock chucker as far as my first single, like my big single stage, just because there's so much for it. And I just kept on looking at that, and I got it, and it was like, ooh, wow.
I mean, I can tell you that even my T7 is textured. I mean, it's got almost like a really. It's not like a rhino liner type coat, but it's a textured. You're not just gonna wipe stuff off of it, and it's So I mean, it's kind of the same finish.
This is just definitely textured. I mean, as you see, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but I like keeping my stuff clean. So that's part of the military thing. So I mean, as soon as I get through with it, from the primers and everything, I don't like seeing black and everything on it. Some people do, but I get it and clean it and get it spotless, and that's the way I like it. And then get it dirty when I use it and clean it up. But it don't take me 20 minutes to clean it up. I mean, I just spray a little bit of stuff on it. Boop, 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 done. But I mean, I do like the smoothness. To me, it just makes everything just right off of it.
Yeah, I've got the Hornady is a gloss type finish, and the old Lyman gray hammer finish is kind of a gloss finish. But I've had the finish is more like the Redding or yours, and it does. If you let it get dirty, it is a little bit harder to actually get clean. But yeah, I mean, I see your point, but I'll tell you, I'm with Rob. I think it looks like, I hate to say the word value because that implies that it's good for the money. It looks like it's just a fine press, and the price is a really good bonus.
And I would put, like I said, I ain't used the T7 like daily. My buddy had one. I touched it and was like, hey man, that's pretty. I will honestly say, I'll put it up against the T7 and be willing to go head for head with it. I mean, it is solid. I mean, they did a good job on it.
I wouldn't put my T7 up against it because I don't want to have to throw in the factor that I paid an extra $100 for it.
But I mean,
I feel like I paid $100 for an extra mounting hole and an extra handle hole.
Because I tell you,
if I remember correctly, the Redding comes with a 100 primer, which is actually kind of that would be an annoyance, is only having the 50, the old Lyman short 50. But I'm sure you could probably find another way to retrofit that to have 100 if you wanted to.
Well, I would tell you, if this sucked, I would turn around and sell this in a heartbeat because I know I could do it right now.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm like Wade. Like if I'm priming, there you go. I'm hand priming. I don't prime on a press anyway, so I don't even have the tube, and you got to pay extra for the tube with the Redding, so it doesn't even come with the tube with the press. You got to pay extra for it.
Here's the tube. Now it's not as fancy as my RCVS. Now it ain't got the white little thing at the top. It's just got a little cuts on the side. I don't know. Can you see? Where's my camera at here? You see? It's just got little cuts here. But as far as picking up primers, I actually find this one easier to pick up primers than this big tip here. I can get in there really easy with that. That's the one thing I do like about it.
Well, and it came with the press. Like I said, I don't have the priming system on mine. I don't prime on the press, and it didn't come with it.
Huh. I didn't know it didn't come with it. I thought the Redding came with the primer.
No, so it comes with the little arms, for the small and large little.
But it doesn't come with a primer feed. You got a hand.
It comes with the little arms, but it doesn't come with the actual tube. The tube assembly is another like $40 or something.
So there's the primer. There's the blast shield in the tube. And actually on here, I don't mind it being 50 because 100 would be up here, and that would just annoy me. Where over here on my bench primer, that thing's like so far, it's not right in front of my face. So over here, it's back. I don't know if you see the bench primer. It's right there. I can go boop just like that. It's not in front of, this is right in front of my face. So up here would it would annoy me. I ain't gonna lie. That's just something that would, this is about the size of the height of the press. So it's all right. I would say I've heard some people complain about the priming system. One thing I did do, there is an Allen screw back there that when you put the cup in, what I did was I adjusted that primer screw. So when I put this in there to prime, I didn't have to play around with how far. When I push it in, it's going to sit right in the middle and it goes up easy. I was some of the reviews I've seen, the priming system's not that great. And I tried it and I was like, well, it's not that bad. I just played around with the little screw back there. And once I got that, it was just like boop in. But I cannot, as far as speed, this all day long. I mean, I could sit here and do 100 cases in 7-8 minutes with that thing. It's so easy. Just boop, boop, done.
Yeah, it is funny because I've been around enough and listened to people. I mean, the priming system on presses gets slammed almost all the time. And what's funny is very few people that actually reload a lot use it. When you're on a big progressive, you use them a lot of times, but outside of that, it's just rare. I mean, I will use mine from time to time. Don't get me wrong, but it is more rare. Usually, I'll just hand prime because I know it's faster.
But why I don't like it, I'll show you right now. Let me get this off. Give me a second here. So I took this little piece out. This is what's in there. And even with this out, primers don't come out. I don't know how they did it, but primers go down the hole fairly good. So what I don't like is I'm constantly having to sit there. Oh, there's the hole. I can go down. You know, there's the hole. I'm in it. Now go. I don't have to sit here and like watch it. Oh, that's too low. You know, there it is. That's what I don't like about priming on the press. There's that little hole that I got to go in, and I have to sit there and make sure it's high enough or low enough, and it's in there.
JCM, I saw your question about how much are the turrets themselves. I don't see them on the actual, like just look at on Midway just because it's an easy one for me to pop open. I don't see the turret heads available yet for the linemen as far as individual sale. They might be, but I'm just not seeing them.
Word that I've heard, what I've heard is $50, but I don't know where I heard it, around 50. I'm not sure if that's right or not.
Yeah, I don't see them available for sale, so I don't see that.
But as you see, I cover up my primer hole right there because this is a tertiary priming system to me at this point. I don't care about priming on it. It's there if I need it, and that's what it's there for.
Well, I want to get shout out the chat here a little bit. Crazy Scotsman, thanks for showing up, buddy. Uncle Jim, Curtis Chapin, Big Al came in. He's here. I appreciate it. Fuzz T Fork 8. If you haven't checked out some of these people's channels, you can click right on the right hand side of the chat box. There's 3 dots, and you can go directly to their channel. A lot of times it open up a new tab, so you're not even going to lose your spot. And you can subscribe, check out their videos, and see what they're doing. Toolness 1 came in. Thanks, buddy. Vanessa Kitty she's at back home, so she was shopping and came in and checked with us. And then got to the house and checked again. So I appreciate that. Oh, GCM 45. Thanks for coming out, brother. Preacher's Day Off. And Georgia Boy 44 came in. It was nice. KFW, glad to see you, brother. Thomas Pickering came in for here a little while. I don't know if he's still here or not. I think there's got to be a better way for me to check this, but I'm just actually rolling through the chat and seeing who's talking. Mike Treen, thanks, brother, for coming out. And I always know I'm missing somebody. I always feel bad about it. But, guys, everybody that came out, Josh Benwar came out, and, of course, Jamie came out for a little while in his intermission of his show. So, guys, I appreciate you coming out into the chat. Hopefully you were interested in the press, or if you weren't, just interested in hearing some good old boys chatting about reloading. But I appreciate it. Loaded Cap Gun, yeah, you. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is interesting the different presses and then getting into reloading and how you're going to do it. We've had a lot of conversations about that on the Reloaders Network and on this chat about starting out with a single stage or a turret or jumping right into a progressive and things like that. And I really like that there's some turret presses coming out that are a little bit more. I don't want to say user friendly, but one of the things that bugged me to some degree was when Lee started taking all their turrets and making them into progressive presses, because the price difference wasn't there. So people were going right out and buying progressive presses as some of their first presses, which I'm not sure is exactly a great idea for everybody. So I like to see Lyman bringing something that's pretty budget conscious and looks to be a fine piece to keep for years. But that's about all I got right now.
Scotsman sent me a link here. I'm just checking to make sure on the Redding. But Amazon has got the Lyman turret heads, the replacement turret heads, for $50 plus $7 shipped, and they're not eligible for Prime. So $55 for replacement turret heads for the Lyman versus $75 for the Redding.
What's funny is that
75? You said 75 for the Lyman?
No, 50
Yeah.
for the Lyman.
Oh,
Or
okay.
55 for the Lyman. And the only difference that I see is the Lyman's got, like you were saying, a large bolt on the top of it that holds that turret head down, whereas the Redding T7 has actually got an Allen screw that holds that turret head on. So the Redding actually may even be easier to access unless you've actually got a set of Allen handled sockets, which some people do and some people don't have. But
Daniel, thanks for coming out, buddy. I know we talked about it earlier. I know I didn't pick you up in that last little shout out. So yeah, that's actually a big deal because the T-Mag, so the T-Mag 2, which is the predecessor to the All-American 8, the turrets were more expensive than that. So they're really going at this budget thing. And it's interesting because you would think the quality would have to suffer. It doesn't look like it has.
I don't think it's budget. Like that's like the only reason we're saying it's budget is because we're comparing it to the Redding.
I'm comparing it to the T-Mag 2. It's cheaper than the T-Mag 2 was. The T-Mag 2 is typically about $245, and it's a 6-hole turret press. It has the old, and I mean this goes back to the Spartan priming system. The new one has a good handle. It's a nice press. Don't get me wrong, but it's it looks like that press is more robust. It's got the 8 holes. It's got probably a better priming system in it, and it's coming in cheaper. And the turrets are cheaper than the T-Mag 2.
Well, let me ask you: was the old one cast or was it welded?
No, it's a cast. It's a cast. It's a cast with what appears to be a machined turret head, machined or possibly. I mean, I don't know as if it's forged, but it's a machine of some kind.
So if you can't see, that's a 7/8 socket. That's what fits on there, and it will take a ratchet. That's going to be the easiest way to get it if you want to keep everything on there.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I have trouble. I understand where you're coming from, Nathan, with the old T-Mags, but I just don't see calling it a budget press, not at $200. I understand where you're coming from. I do, and it's realistically just a matter of semantics. But I think it's just a good quality press for that price point. I think it readjusts our expectations of what we can expect out of a press for $200. And I think that's a good thing for everybody.
I agree. I think it is. It's a pretty seems to be a pretty impressive machine, and it's interesting because I would have guessed that they would have gone more the route that Lee has gone with their turrets, and instead they went after Redding, and that surprises me. That that they went that route, and I'm glad they did because I think it's a fine choice.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that it was Lyman and not Hornady, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think this is going to make Lyman a much bigger competitor out there now.
Yeah, I would have seen Hornady personally make that move before I would have guessed Lyman would have done it. But I'm glad they did. Like I said, I don't care. You know, I don't care if Lee made the damn thing. I don't care. I just think it's a great looking press. Big Al, if you go back and watch it, the chat will actually scroll with the video. It should at least. So when Nathan publishes it after we're done, as you're watching, the chat will go along in quote unquote real time as you're watching the video.
So it will.
Can you add a powder drop to it, or do you need to do separately?
I don't do it just because of but you can put a powder drop on here and do. What I'm probably going to do is I like powder drops, but I'm just fanatical. I like seeing the physical scale and making sure it's actually there every time to the same. So I'm probably going to put a powder through funnel on it and go that route. Just drop it in there like that. So once it's on there, it's on there.
Scotsman, I'll tell you from my experience that yeah, I'll put a powder drop on a turret head, but make sure that you actually, when you're checking and you're trying to get the weight right, move the turret head and then check, and then move your turret head and check. And the reason why is because moving that turret head from one die station to another settles that powder. So if you just sit there static and check and work up, and you're like, okay, this is 5.6 grains of unique, and then you go and check it when you're moving, it'll be 5.7 or so. So definitely make sure, because it does settle as the turret's moving around it and jostling it around. But yeah, it works fine.
I think I actually saw it was a video. It was an old military arms channel video with Tim showing one of his old reloading setups, and he's got a progressive. He's got Dillons that he loads off of. Go figure. But and he does the exact same thing even with his progressives when he's setting up the powder charges. He'll run it all the way through all the stations multiple times to make sure that it's dropping properly, even as the turret head rotates on its own. Yeah, Uncle Jim, a 10-hole Lee for $100.
Yeah, that's got to be coming, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't see. I don't know. I think they're really going to take a bite out of Lee's market share, and I think they're flat out just going to start killing Reading. I don't. They really priced it well, especially where a lot of the quote unquote sales that we're seeing, 169, 179, even once it does start back in stock, that's a hell of a price for $200, even at full price.
Preacher's Day Off, you are correct. I believe that was what was on the hat. It was make reloading great again. One of the things I think is going to be a determining factor, and I'm looking forward to this, is Uncle Jim's review on the new Lyman powder measure. I've had Lyman 55s. I'm not a huge fan of them. I know other people that absolutely adore them. So don't get me wrong, guys. If you might get one and love it. I didn't. I couldn't keep one sitting still. They're I think the most accurate powder measure on the face of the planet. If you had a way to check, you could get that thing within, tenths of tenths. I mean, thousands, I swear. But they wouldn't sit still for me, no matter what I did. And
yeah, that's next on my list of things that I want. I actually splurged this week and got one of the get it up here in frame. I got one of these bad boys this week. But
did you see TATV his review on that?
I don't know if I did or not. I've watched a couple of them, comparing this one and the Lyman one. But powder measure is the other thing that I would like to have before I start doing 9mm. To have an accurate throw hand powder measure that I can, that way I'm not having to empty out my RCBS light all the time. But I'm right there with you. I'm looking forward to see what Uncle Jim has to say about the Lyman one.
Yeah, Curtis. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. It's got the little knocker on it. The knocker's great. I can't keep one sitting still. If you look at the way the adjusters work on that, you have to backload it. So you kind of have to hold the slider, right, and then push it in because you have movement in between the threads because the threading isn't perfectly tight. So and then you got to take a lock screw and then really kind of tighten that lock screw down. And then inevitably, after a couple throws, what I was having is that the slide bars would start to move. That was my issue with it. Now, I've heard other people not have those issues, and it could have just been the two that I've worked on, or it could just be me. But the new one that Uncle Jim's getting is just is kind of more standardized. And let's say this: if Lyman hits a home run with their powder measure, and with the All-American Heat, I'm with Rob. I think that they could really take a big bite out of the market share, and take back maybe some ground that they may have lost to RCBS and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, I tell you what, like for me, like getting this case trim and prep center, the only reason I got the Frankfurt Arsenal one instead of the Lyman one, there's two reasons. One, because it has the trim with it. But secondly, because I know like a lot of you guys don't actually wet tumble, or if you do, you don't use the steel pins all the time and whatnot, and you don't really care. So with the Lyman one having the extra heads on it, if I wasn't as anal about wet tumbling like after every 2 or 3 actions as I am, the Lyman probably would have been better for me than the Frankfurt Arsenal one, and I probably would have gone that direction. And it's only because of the way that I specifically reload that I went for the Frankfurt Arsenal one, just because even though I know it's louder, the other one's it's got more heads and it's got more tools. Yeah. So I even that I think is a good product.
I was gonna go.
They're going zinc. They're the Canada, much the way California is mostly zinc, I think, and I think that's coming from TATV telling that in the video. But that's what I'm seeing. And you're right, Kurt. That fly, I was casting today, so the window was open, and I got flies in here. It's driving me berserk.
I saw you holding that before we went on air, and I was like, what the hell is he holding a fly swatter for? Wait, doesn't it, when you're casting in your room, I'm assuming you have AC in the house, does it actually get hotter by opening the window than it does if you just keep the window closed and cast?
Well, yeah. I mean, I closed the door and everything, and then I got right now I used to use the my exhaust fan setup, but right now with the way things are set up, I'm actually just using a fan in the window blowing out. So I close the door and I have to open up the window, blow. It's just to keep the fumes and stuff out of here, so I don't end up with a bunch of smoke in here from fluxing it and things like that. So it does get hotter in here for damn sure, especially if I'm trying to video and I got 3 or 4 lights on. Yeah, it'll get hot in here.
Now, can I say something? Now, I was going to go with like a case prep center, but since I got the wet tumbler, that took care of the pockets. Now, when I trim, that takes care of everything else for me. It trims in chamfers and deburrs.
The reason that I got the case prep center is because, like I'll usually do brass either 50 or 100 at a time. So just having to sit, and it's just more monotonous than anything, just sitting there, and it saves me time. So, it was worth me paying the price to have the automatic one. And it's not automatic, obviously, so I got to freaking feed the damn case into it. But, at the end of the day, it's going to save me time, and it's going to make the one part that I really hate, the chamfering and deburring, significantly less of a pain in the ass.
When I trim, it's chamfers and deburrs at the same time, because I hate trimming and I hate chamfering and deburring. And yep. I hate primer pockets. Primer pockets suck.
Oh, I'll do primer pockets all day long. Like that doesn't bother me.
Them 3 things right there. No, I don't mind anything else. I don't mind measuring, putting them in case gauges, but I don't like trimming. It just makes everything. I like things neat, and it just makes everything all messy.
What is going on with the bugs? I mean, why are we suddenly bug people? You guys obviously don't live in the South. You have any idea how bad the bugs are down here? Yeah. Bug lives do not matter.
Loaded Cap Gun brought up the bugs, the bug assault. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty hilarious. I she's talking about getting one for me, and I don't know, maybe, but the idea of being able to shoot in the house sounds great. But the idea of having salt all over the place, like I can see my dog literally just licking everything. But yeah, it may be a consideration. If it works, I'll let you know.
So I think Harbor Freight has got one, don't they? Don't they have a Harbor Freight brand? I think my neighbor told me that I think Harbor Freight's got a cheap one. It might be. I know you're a connoisseur of the Harbor Freights, especially living as close as you do. But I think they've got one. I think I heard somebody tell me that they've got their own, salt bugger gun thing. That's a Harbor Freight brand. Go figure.
Curtis, that's absolutely right. Bugs do use iPhones, shoot Glocks, and reload on lead presses. That's absolutely it. Now, mosquitoes, on the other hand, obviously, they have to have an Android phone. They reload on Dillons, and they shoot nothing but Smith and Wessons.
No, they shoot nothing but 1911s. Let's be real here.
Oh,
only in 45 ACP at that.
Yeah.
45 balloon.
Oh man. Well, guys, hey, we're getting close to 9:30, or we're right after. So, just kind of wrap up. Tell us what we're doing lately, and give our shout outs and our goodbyes, and let's get off here and let them get some night the weekend.
Wade, go ahead, brother. Wade.
Yeah, I'm losing you here. Hold on. I got to turn my signal. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, hold on. I got to turn my signal. I'm on my phone listening, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, send your shout outs and say your goodbyes, brother.
I'm here. I'm on my phone listening, so. Gotcha. Yeah, send your shout outs and say your goodbyes, brother. There you go, man. I'm out.
Definitely a fly in the ointment.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Sorry about that, guys. Little technical difficulties there.
Yeah, I've got Can you mute him, Nathan?
Yeah.
There we go. I think we're good. I think we're safe. Nope, he muted himself. There we go. No, I mentioned earlier I got my can challenge done today. That video is probably going up Sunday. Got my SST versus Interlock 6.5 Greedmore video going up next week as well. Other than that, just trying to survive this Georgia heat down here. Appreciate Wade coming out tonight, showing us his Lyman press. I know a lot of guys are interested in that. I was myself. Like I said, I think it's a great looking press. I think it's pretty awesome. Really appreciate everybody coming out. One thing I want to say, I know I get a lot of views on my videos. I'm not getting a lot of comments, guys. Where are the comments at? Give me hell. So yeah. Other than that, appreciate you guys coming out. That's all I got.
Well, I appreciate Wade coming out as well. I think that was pretty awesome of him. Somebody that doesn't usually do live streams or whatever, come out here and show us his press and show us what he's got going on, and tell us a little bit about it and kind of be honest about it. Because I know some people get a little bit, tender about their own equipment. So I really appreciate that. All you guys that came out and chat, I really, really, really appreciate that. That's pretty awesome. Sorry that we kind of were a limited crew tonight. We didn't have Jamie on board, who's our voice of reason, and then Kyle had to duck out early. But I'm just glad that Kyle was able to come into all, guys. He was down shooting, doing his thing, and he just got into town, so he hadn't even got himself situated, and he was telling me he was having air conditioner troubles and stuff. So I really appreciate you coming out for a while, Kyle. I don't have a lot going on. I'm starting on my 32 series, but I haven't really got rolling on it yet, and I've got some things half in the in the can, but that's about it. Just trying to transition out of this whole reloading room project and back to shooting. And I think it's taken me a little while. I've been doing a lot of casting. But other than that, guys, that's about all I've been up to lately. And so I may have a video up Monday. I don't know. Next week. I knew I was going to forget this. Next week, we are not going to be doing our thing. The Reloaders Network's going to be doing their thing on Saturday night. So we're trying not to interfere with them still. We're kind of still running that, seeing if that's going to make a difference or if it's not. I don't know. So the Reloaders Network is going to do their live stream next week, next Saturday at, I think, 8 o'clock. And as far as I know, 243 Outdoors is going to be hosting it. That may change. Check the Reloaders Network for more information, or if you have a question, you can reach me through either Skype or not Skype, but
check the Reloaders Network for more
Slack or whatever. I mean, because I don't know if YouTube's done away with their comments thing, or you can just send a comment to one of my videos and I'll notice it.
Just don't be like Crazy Scotsman who doesn't check his damn Slack all week and then gets on there for the live stream and gives us hell.
Yeah, absolutely. But guys, I appreciate it. But yeah, until next week or until next time, I'll see you and have fun.